everyone. I just wanted to make a short video to talk with you a little bit about where we've been in Unit 1, where we've been in Unit 2, and where we are going in Unit 3. So in Unit 1, we really focused on how and why we compose text digitally in different aspects of our life, and we talked about those academic and those professional and those personal aspects of our lives. And in particular, you were encouraged in Unit 1 to really think about what professional communities existed in your own, in, in kind of accordance with your own academic and professional goals. And through that exploration, we were able to create our own profile of an academic community. And that gave you some basic skills for college level writing and composition, including annotation and close reading skills, using MLA, starting to understand some of the basics for rhetorical analysis and understanding. And we were able to have a conversation about what kind of different genres there are for us to communicate in academically, professionally, and personally. And then when we come over to Unit 2, we really built on those ideas of genre choices and understanding audience and purpose and understanding the rhetorical situation. You probably hear me say this word a lot, and that's why whenever I say it sometimes on D2L, I'll always put a little definition. Don't forget that's the relationship between the author, the audience, and the text. And so we looked at a specific community, a community which a lot of people are a part of, which is, the community of internet users. And we looked at that community by viewing the documentary Terms and Conditions May Apply. And instead of writing about what we thought about internet privacy, instead we did a rhetorical analysis of what the author's relationship was with his specific audience, this community of internet users, and for a specific purpose, to tell them something he believed about his privacy. And we looked at how and why that that author, the director of Terms and Conditions May Apply, created an argument. And in your major assignment 2, which was your rhetorical analysis, you should have been looking at how the director created the piece and why he did, and how he utilized those tools of ethos, pathos, and logos, the authoritative appeal, the emotional appeal, and the logic appeal to convince a very specific audience about privacy. And that was our goal in our rhetorical analysis, was to do that, to show to me your understanding of the rhetorical appeals and the rhetorical situation. And we also got a little bit of digital literacy training, visual literacy training really, by being able to examine a documentary. There's an airplane flying by, so if you hear that, that is in fact not my stomach. That is actually an airplane making that noise. Sorry about that. But ultimately, that's what we ended up doing with that rhetorical analysis. And then, of course, we got a little off track here, just because of Hurricane Matthew, and then fall break. We didn't get far off track, and I had built a little wiggle room into the schedule, and we aren't behind. We just need to get things done in Unit 3 so we can move on. But the schedule has had a few changes, and that's kind of why I wanted to make this video for you, so that we could talk about some of those changes together, and you could hear my voice and hear me hopefully reassuring you about the work we have left to do this semester. I need to update some grades for you. I'll be doing that over the next few days, so that you can do an optional revision of Major Assignment 1 if you like. This week, in week 10, we will be, obviously right now we've been reviewing Unit 1 and Unit 2. In a second I'll be introducing you to Unit 3. We'll also be finishing up Major Assignment 2, and that final draft is going to be due this Friday, October 28th at 11:59 p.m. to the Dropbox. There is late work accepted for a points penalty until Wednesday, October 2nd. It's a half letter grade a day late. So that's what we're going to be working on this week, and then we're going to be doing some reading to prepare us to begin doing our research in Unit 3, which brings me to the previewing of Unit 3. So Unit 1, we did a profile of an academic community. In Unit 2, we did a rhetorical analysis of a community of internet users and their privacies, an issue affecting that community. In Unit 3, we're going to continue our trend of building analytical and composition skills on the college level by exploring the rhetorical situation. Remember, that's the relationship between the audience, author, and text. You can think of it as a triangle if you like. Okay. But this time, we're going to explore our relationship as authors to the audience and the text. Because we're going to do this by starting to establish our own ethos. And I didn't finish my sentence here. I will edit that here in a second. But what I was going to say is we'll do doing this by establishing our own ethos through the development of a topic of research. So Unit 3, building ethos and organizing sources, is ultimately going to create a major assignment of an annotated bibliography. And in this unit, we're going to be learning how to use different platforms for good academic research. We're going to talk about Google, we're going to talk about the library, the databases and the catalog. And we're going to talk about, how do we find stuff using those tools, and then how do we evaluate those tools and see if they are in fact credible. Okay, are they good sources? What makes an academic source? What makes a non-academic source? And just a little hint, as in the title of the unit, ethos, authority, credibility, that's what makes a good source. And so through the building of these resources, we're going to talk about and understand the process of developing a topic, and asking questions to develop a topic. And ultimately, we will get some practice summarizing, analyzing, and reflecting on those academic sources. Here's my email. I thought I'd turn that thing off. Let me go ahead and just hide it. Apparently not. Sorry about that. You can just see it was a boring old Groupon. They spam me all the time. So ultimately our goals are going to be to create an annotated bibliography. And we should also be getting some more practice with MLA. We've had a little practice with MLA, but we're going to get some more hands-on practice with MLA in this unit. This unit's rather short. We'll be, kind of previewing the unit this week. In week 11, we'll be learning more about research and finding some resources and starting to build those annotated bibliographies. And then ultimately in week 12, we'll be finally building those resources. In week 11, we'll be building our database of ethos on a topic by creating starting to create those annotated bibliographies. We'll be learning about in the reading about evaluating sources and organizing sources, and more about annotated bibliographies. And we'll even be discussing a little bit of why is it so tricky to evaluate these sources, and what are some strategies as a class we can come up with for telling whether or not we think a source is credible. And the rhetorical inquiry in week 11 is really going to be focused on starting to do the research, kind of like a how-to, and how do you start building a working annotated bibliography, so that in week 12 we can learn more about the annotated bibliography, look at some samples. You can pull all of that good research together and create a final draft of your annotated bibliography. Towards the end of week 10, I will have major assignment 1 grades back to you, and then you will be able to start working on optional revisions of that assignment if you would like. The due date for optional revisions is due at the end of week 12, Friday, November 11th. There will be some instructions that I'll post in week 10 explaining how to do the optional revision. So we have a lot kind of going on, and I realize I'm like ADHD scrolling. Sorry, it's who I am through here. But there'll be a lot of opportunities in Unit 3, to really start finding some resources on a particular topic and developing a topic to explore. We will be looking at, you will see in week 11 the instructions. This week in week 10, I really just want you to focus on starting to learn about Unit 3 and the reading, learning about what is research in Chapter 19. But in week 11, we'll talk about what kind of topics you can choose from. I will have some guidelines for topic selection. You will get some freedom in a little bit of what you might pick, but it will be kind of under the umbrella of one topic that we'll have in common. So you'll be able to branch off in the direction that you're most interested in, but we'll kind of all have a topic in common. So after looking ahead, after Unit 3, we will be going into Unit 4, and we'll be building a digital project. We will be using the information from that we built in Unit 3 for the annotated bibliography. We'll be using that same information of sources to help us build the project in Unit 4. So it's really important that you try to make sure that when you're building your resources for Unit 3, that you do a really good job. It's going to make your life a lot easier when we get into Unit 4. When we get into Unit 4, we're going to be using these resources that we built in topic development in Unit 3 from the annotated bibliography to help us start to build the project that we'll be creating in Unit 4. So it's really important in Unit 3 that you pay attention, do the readings, create the annotated bibliography, and work really hard to find good quality sources, because the better work you do now, the easier it's going to be to create that project ultimately in Unit 4, which we'll be talking about, a little bit more in the next coming weeks. So that is really all I have for you today. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about, where we're going and where have we been and where are we going. And I look forward to working with you guys more as the semester progresses. Hold on to your butts. The semester will be over quicker than you could ever imagine. Hang in there. You made it this far. You can do it. I believe in you. So I hope that you have a good rest of your week, and good luck getting those major assignment 2s turned in on Friday.